Welcome to 21st Century Learning, exploring the intersection of education and technology. This is episode number 3.01, and you're listening to the EdTech Talk channel of the World Bridges Network. Today is October 9th, 2014. I'm Alex Ragone.
I'm Arvin Grover.
And I'm Vinny Vrotny.
In a new location.
And we're back.
We're back. We're nationwide.
We're probably a few extra miles apart from each other.
Yeah.
Just a couple.
We were noticing before in the pre-show that Vinny and I both upgraded our internet connections, and the images are much clearer this year. So it's as times change.
For sure.
So how's it going?
I think we've got to start with Vinny in our first show back. He's in a whole new latitude.
Right.
New role. So tell us about what's going on, Vinny.
It's this year I made the switch after a great run at Quest. We did a lot of things in a very, very short time, but an opportunity came and I jumped on it, and so I've moved down to the Kincaid School down in Houston, Texas, which it's a completely different animal in terms of the responsibilities, and so it's been a very interesting transition on a number of levels, both professionally, personally, for a variety of different reasons. But I'm now finally feeling at the point that I can breathe, and I'm only running uphill at a 75-degree angle, as opposed to coming in and everything was taking 5 times as long as it should, because you've got to figure out what's been done, why it's been done, what we want to do, and then maybe set a new course, but do it in such a way to honor those who came before you and those who are here. So it's just looking for all of the tripwires, and knocking over several of them with that. So.
And tell us a little bit about your role at the school, Vinny.
Yeah, so I've moved to the Director of Technology. The one thing that has been different is that for the first time in 21 years, I'm not in a classroom regularly with students, which is kind of I miss that. Just miss the energy, and especially since we had been doing so much around making. It seems that it's just an endless loop of meetings after meetings after meetings. Which is fine, and there's a couple that I think that next year we're going to shed, but that's okay. I'm keeping things as is for this year, and it's running the technology department, both in terms of the academic technology, the IT, making sure everything's running for a school. 1,500 students, 3 campuses. So essentially, it's almost as though it's 3 separate schools. And I'm the district superintendent overarching all of them, because they're 3 large schools. There's a upper school of 500 and some odd, a middle school of 400 and some odd, and a lower school of 450 plus. So
how far apart are the campuses?
We're on the same campus, and so it's a pretty compact campus. So I can walk from one end of the campus to the other in about 13 minutes on a nice stroll. So it is very, very compact, but just culturally and just in terms of the ethos and everything, they are 3 different campuses within a single campus, which is not atypical or different than any other place.
Sure.
It's just the scale that's bigger.
Yeah.
Woo.
Well, congratulations.
Well, thanks. Thanks.
I'm sure there's going to be a lot for us to hear about as you just get to learn, let alone get to do.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
I would say, Arvin, the look Vinny has, I remember that really well a couple of years ago. I made it to October ago.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Well, the good thing with the Columbus Day weekend, I don't know if you all have that off or not.
Yeah.
But it's also Parents Weekend, so that one of the other transitions that we've made is my wife and I are now officially empty nesters.
Mm-hmm.
And so, we're going to the University of Arizona later this evening to hang out for Parents Weekend and kind of chill and actually go see what it's going to turn out to be a pretty good football game.
Good luck figuring out what time it is.
What's that?
I said good luck figuring out what time it is.
It's at 7:39 my time. 7:30 Mountain. Yeah, Arizona's been playing well, and they're playing USC, and so that should be a good tilt.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, but my daughter's having a great time out at the university and everything. So, and my younger daughter's actually going to be in the New York area next week, I think.
Oh.
Her boyfriend's band is beginning to do some touring. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, Alex, it's on to you. How's your start of your year?
It's been really interesting. I think last year was a really busy year here with our 100th year celebration and our NICE accreditation all at the same time. So we've been able to kind of really look at the visiting committee report and look at kind of what our internal goals are for the middle and upper school, so our 3rd through 8th grade over the last couple of weeks, and really start to dig into some of the kind of like what are our goals of our program and how do they like align with our teaching. And so we've had a couple of really nice large scale full faculty kind of from middle and upper school discussions over the last few weeks about how do we give feedback to kids, how do we what are we looking for. So that's been really good, and we have 2 things coming up that are pretty exciting. One on October 24th. I'm pitching stuff, guys. I'm sorry. We're hosting a conference here where teachers are sharing kind of about the City and Country, like aspects of the City and Country program, and so we've invited outside educators to come to that. So that's happening on October 24th, and then in November, towards the end of November, we're going to host an ed camp here at City and Country as well. So
awesome!
I'm really excited for those 2 events, kind of to start getting people in here and talking about the program and education in general. So we're going to do Ed Camp NYC in November. I think that might be the 22nd too. It's towards the Saturday before Thanksgiving, and then our Centennial Conference, which we're calling City and Country from Radical to Relevant.
Yeah, I saw that announcement. It looked really interesting.
Yeah. So
I'll have to tap into you because we're hosting an ed camp in April of this upcoming year. So yeah.
I'm really excited to see how that turns out. We don't have our one challenge is we don't have one space where we can fit everybody, so we're going to have to do some unconference stuff in multiple rooms, which will be, I don't know. We're still Karen Blumberg and our tech coordinator Ian Clapper and I are going to figure that out. Some creative solutions there.
Awesome.
How's your year starting out, Arvin? New schedule?
Yeah, how's the new schedule?
Yeah, new schedule is out from junior kindergarten through 8th grade. It's been overall, I think, really good from my perspective of things. I think it's vary for every single faculty member how they experience the change and what it does to their curriculum and what it does to their just the type of day they're used to having. So in some ways the rollout was exceptionally quiet, and then in other ways for some people it was really startling. So, it's a lot of mixture of experiences, and I'm trying to do my best to meet with as many constituencies as possible, get my committee reorganized so that they can start doing some data collection on what's really working well, what's really working not. But a couple of things that stand out that have really changed things in a positive way that I just want to share is we switched to this model where every afternoon our middle schoolers, which is grades 5 through 8, have what we call tutorial, which is when they're free and their advisor's free and they're in a room with them. It's just 40 minutes, but most of the middle school faculty is free at the same time. And that has been unbelievable. Kids are getting so much work done. It's reducing their homework load at night, which is they love, their parents love. Their advisors are available to kind of keep track of them and check in with them. It's in the afternoon, but you have one class after it, but that small 40 minutes per day and we had study halls before, which were randomly throughout all different parts of the day, but that period at that time has meant a lot to the kids' lives and a lot for teachers who just need to meet with a kid for 20 minutes to make up a quiz or something. You're not trying to figure out when this kid is available with their soccer practice. So that's really been nice. We also went to longer class periods and less of them per day. And for many teachers, that's been amazing. They teach less classes per day. They can be kind of more focused in. When they're not teaching, they're free for longer, and they just have a longer prep, which has been nice. It's been taxing, though, on our junior kindergarten through fourth grade teachers, our early childhood and lower teachers, because they tend to have now, because we got rid of a lot of these little weird small periods, they tend to have longer blocks of time than they're used to. And so that's really, just raised a bunch of curricular questions about, given that, how do we adjust our curriculum in response? So there's lots of big questions that are big and hairy and I think good, but that's partly because I'm not necessarily the person who's being affected by them right away. So I can really empathize with how difficult it is learning to navigate a new system and reorganize your curriculum all at the same time. So a lot of fun, but a lot of learning.
Yeah. My third grader, personally at home, they go from like 8:05 to 11:30 in their room, and they do social studies and language arts all together during that time. And so on curriculum night last week, I looked at the schedule and I said to the teachers, I said, like, what do you do for breaks in there? I know what it's like to hang out in a room with third graders for a few hours, and that's intense, and they're getting a lot of work done. And they actually, they have a whole, they have plank workouts and yoga that they do in between, which really which was funny. I was sitting there like, what are you doing? What are you going to do? And so they assured us that was important, and they give the kids breaks. So I've asked my daughter, she's getting better at doing planks.
Well, I think one of the things that struck me so much is it's sort of intuitive. Like, if you have 2.5 hours with little kids, you should take breaks. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, the teachers just historically have had so little time that they're honestly afraid to take breaks. They think it seems wasteful because now they have time, and you want to give the kids as much learning opportunities as you can. Right. And so there's an apprehension. Actually, a teacher said to me the other day, said, I let my kids just go sit in the hallway for 10 minutes with a book of their choice. Was that okay? There's a real nervousness about that. So I was like, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
To me, that's a great idea. And the kids get to get a break. They're doing something academic, and they come back with a kind of okay, I'm ready to get back into something else now.
Yeah.
But that's all learning, a lot of learning curve there.
We did. When you were, I'm going to jump in. When you were talking about that time, we rearranged one of our faculty meetings, so it has so all of where we used to have two teachers meet with all of the specials once a week. Now we have 6 teachers, so our whole middle school, all of our humanities teachers and all the specials, and we call it open meetings, so we have an agenda that anyone can add something to. So if somebody wants to talk to, if a group teacher wants to talk to the shop teacher and the art teacher and a learning specialist, they just list it out beforehand, and then they work their way through this meeting. And when I've walked into these meetings, just having time is an amazing gift to people because they use it really well, and they can work in the room and kind of figuring out how to, what they need to do, and they get it done, and they move on. And so it's like a half an hour once a week of time dedicated to collaboration, which is really nice.
That's really nice. I think that's one of the things I probably regret most that we haven't been able to schedule is teacher-teacher contact time rather than student-teacher contact time, which we prioritize.
Right.
And especially given a new model, they almost need more time to talk to each other, and we don't really have it. So that's one thing I know long-term I want to be able to address.
Yeah. So I know I want to watch the clock because we all have hard stops in 8 minutes. So in terms of this year, what are you looking to get out of this show, and how can we help each other?
Who wants to start?
Everybody. I asked the question. Vinny, what can we help you with?
Oh, just keep me sane.
So will be your therapist. So Vinny.
Yeah, that will work. Because I was going back and just out of curiosity, and this is year 8 that we've been doing this together, and you guys were doing it even a couple of years before that.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was 2007, 2008. Yeah. Just out of curiosity, earlier this week, I'm going. We've been doing this for a very long time.
It's pretty amazing.
Wow.
I think one of the things, if I'm going to jump in and answer my own question now that Vinny did that, but one of the things I'm really interested in, and Arvind, you and I talked a little bit about this last year, is like how do we keep each other kind of like goal-oriented, and how are we helping each other hit those goals and think about what we're doing strategically. So I have one level that I'd love to talk about and work on. And then the other piece for me is kind of the big picture piece, and kind of where in a meta kind of the bigger education piece. And so I actually met Mark Prensky last week, and he wrote this little book that I've beaten up called The World Needs a New Curriculum. And he's got this nonprofit called the Global Future Education Foundation. And if you go to their website, they have this really interesting triangle up there about education initiatives, and they talk about people trying to change the current system, and it's like 99% of people, it's a third of people aren't doing anything, a third or a half are trying to change what the current system, and then he's like people who are really thinking about what the system needs to be in the future, and he's got 3 people, and he's one of them. And I'm really kind of interested in that conversation about what's out there and how are we addressing that in our organizations and then beyond. It's a little bit
fascinating.
So, pretty simple question, basically, is what you're saying.
Sorry, I figure in 15 or 20 minutes we can solve that problem and move on.
Perfect.
Next show, ready? We'll get that behind us.
How about you, Vinny? Are there things on your mind for this year? I heard you say keep you sane. I know about being new is a big one.
Yeah, it's just it's being new. We're taking a look to see what the role of one-to-one is, and as we have a commitment to do it, but there's a lot of curricular work that needs to be done first. Just to switch that, we've got a new building project that I've got a meeting on next week where we're redoing our cafeteria. We're going to be building some sandbox classrooms, creating new blended learning spaces here. There's just so much that's going on. And then there's the whole maker thing, and just how that's all beginning to explode. And one of the highlights of my summer was organizing the maker space or maker fair at ISTE. And then because of that, got to hang out with Dale Doherty for 30 minutes. I got to hang out with Emily Pilliton, and got to moderate her documentary about making, and her project, which was the subject of her TED Talk, which is 90-minute version, which shows the whole project, which was just absolutely fascinating. So got to spend 45 minutes chatting with her. Ahead of that, leading the moderation. So, there's just a lot going on. We're also taking a look at, time, how we utilize time, and, just the same old, same old.
Nice.
So what's on your agenda, Arvind?
I mean, I think I definitely share, Alex, some of your ideas of what we talked about last year, wanting to keep each other accountable and push each other to keep moving forward in whichever work we're doing.
Right.
Like that kind of accountability partnership. That's definitely one thing. I personally am doing a lot of work, I would say personally / professionally, with sort of thinking about the organization and moving it towards more of an anti-racist organization. I know, Alex, you and I talked about this a little last year about our faculty participating in the Undoing Racism Institute that's run from the People's Institute of Survival and Beyond. And I was there last week, and we did a self-assessment of the organization. It puts the organization in from one extreme of being a segregated organization to the other extreme being an anti-racist organization. And they were really trying to differentiate between being not racist and being anti-racist, and how those are two different things. And that if you're not actively anti-racist, you're sort of a participant in a racist system, which makes sense. But scoring the organization on a chart was really, really impactful for me, because you just assume that you're pretty progressive on a scale of anti-racism. You think we're not racist people, we're an inclusive community, but what it really takes to be that kind of organization is sophisticated and advanced and complicated, and takes pretty systematic work. And so that's just something I'm personally working on this year, and would love to talk to you all more about.
Yeah,
That'd be great.
that's really hard work.
Anyway, I think we got plenty on our agenda,
We're gonna solve the world problems.
and we're going to go back to our bi-weekly
Bi-weekly
schedule.
Yep.
that we're set for 2 weeks from now on the 23rd.
Yep.
Correct.
And we're doing well.
We get some of our regular kind listeners back.
Yeah, we should think about some marketing.
Yeah, although they may be nervous because the last time we had a regular listener, they just ended up joining the show and staying for 8 years. So
That's okay.
Fair enough.
I'm afraid they'll have to do all the work Vinny does.
Well,
Well,
thanks,
I think
guys. It's been really good to get back together. And thanks, everybody, for listening to 21st Century Learning, exploring the intersection of education and technology for October 9th, 2014. If you have questions or comments, you can find us on Twitter, Arvind at @VBrotny, and at Alex Ragone. And if you have questions or comments, find us there. We look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks.
Alrighty.